are stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Hello, my wanderers. Welcome. I am AJ Rasmussen, and I'm your host. And this is Soul Wanderings. We're hosted here on KGRADB.com. It's an amazing place to be. If you are joining us over on Facebook or YouTube right now, you'll have the first 30 minutes of our show live, and then I'll share with you ways that you can continue to join us in this wandering tonight for the entirety of the show, the entire 2 hours. Last week on the show, we had a really great guest, Courtney, but I had an awesome guest co-host, Maria Duff, and I just have to give her another shout out for joining us last week. We didn't really get an opportunity to really learn much about Maria. She's an amazing human and is one of the most kind and most genuine humans I know, and I know all of you who know her as well feel the same way. And if you haven't met her, say hi to her. She's always hanging out in the chat room. She's a lot of fun, and she definitely has a lot to share, and she's a huge supporter of the station here, and not just my show but all of them. So thank you again, Maria, for sharing your time with us last week. It was such a great time. All right, friends, we're a few minutes behind, so we're going to get right into things. Tonight, we have a new guest. The life mission of Lee Tomlinson, also known as Patient Lee, is to inspire healthcare professionals to return compassionate care to its rightful place at the forefront of modern healthcare, to benefit patients, their families, the bottom line, and perhaps most importantly, their often suffering, burned out selves. However, all of this didn't just happen just because. There was a reason, there's a purpose, so there's a story here, and we're going to hear all about it tonight as we wander with our guest, Lee Tomlinson. Welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. It's good to be here, and given my medical history, frankly, it's good to be anywhere.
Right. I was going to say the same thing after reading your book. I was like, I bet you're just happy to be here in general. What a blessing after all of the things that you've been through. Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm really happy to have you.
It's been a heck of a... Thank you. It's good to be had.
We are going to have a little delay because we're connecting with Lee tonight through his phone. That was the best option for us. So if you'll be patient, sometimes there might be a little delay. So Lee, because we have an entire 2 hours to wander with you, no answer is too short, and you have a lot to share. There's a lot to your story that began before you wrote this book and had these experiences. You went through a lot of things in your life from a very young age all the way till now, and finding your purpose on this path in this life is so good. So why don't you share a little bit about you and tell us as far back as where you feel comfortable, tell us what's up. Tell us all about Patient Lee and how did you become Patient Lee?
Well, yeah. First of all, given the problems with technology, you'd probably call me impatient. And relative to to tell you the age which, given the amount of medical interventions I've had in my lifetime, that's almost miraculous. I have an addiction to adrenaline, and I discovered that at the age of 5 when my sister invited me I say dragged me, up to the top of our second-story landing, pointed down to the bottom and said, "Prove it."
Oh, no.
Prove it. Prove what? Prove that you are or are not the son of Superman as you keep claiming, or shut up about it because I'm sick of hearing it. In that second,
Yeah, it looks like we can't even hear you at all. There's like no sound coming from you, and it's totally frozen.
I learned a couple of very valuable. I literally, are we breaking up?
We're having a hard time hearing you. I'm actually gonna have you call our phone line. So I'm gonna type it here in StreamYard for you so you can connect with us, okay? And then that will be better. Then we will be able to hear your story. Because
tell me, I'll write it down.
Okay. No, it's right there. So
okay.
Yeah, because we're
I'll
on
make
live
it worth
radio.
your while, listeners. Hang in there.
Well, I know there's a story here, and I know we'll all enjoy it. So it's
What's
right
the
there, right next to your screen, right next to us here on the video. So if you'll go ahead and call that number, I'm going to share with everyone a little bit about your book. 855-472-5483. All right. So while he's reconnecting to us, wanderers, Lee, just a little bit of information from what I know of him. Lee has been through a lot of bumps and bruises, broken bones and whatnot, and also terminal illnesses. He wrote this book called Compassion Heals: From Self-Care to Healthcare. And in his journeys, his life mission, like I explained earlier, is he had an experience where he was always taken care of in all of these instances, but then at the last point where he decided to go through what he went through and come out of it, he wrote this book talking about the healthcare system and how we can really have compassion towards our healthcare providers for what they're experiencing when they are assisting us, because they have the burnout, right? They go through probably a lot of highs, a lot of lows, thinking about saving lives, and then those lives that they are able to save, not to mention the long hours. And right now, in the middle of a pandemic, I would imagine that it's just crazy because they're getting overworked even more so. But his book talks about compassion heals from like pretty much putting yourself in their shoes. What would be different if we could do that? And I think that's not just in healthcare, right? We all know the space that can occur and the things that can change inside of us, the healing that can happen when we have compassion for other human beings and what they're going through and what they are experiencing. This just so happens to be his story through having really bad health care, having bad experiences in a place where he was needing the help and not receiving that. And basically, I'm never going to tell his story like he will, but here we go. Basically, he went down, a dark hole. He got really, really depressed because of what was occurring with just all the things that were happening in his life, which hopefully he'll get on here and be able to share with us. And having those experiences can really take a toll, not just on your physical body, but emotionally and mentally, and then not having the care that you really need in those times, feeling helpless and hopeless. I would imagine it would put you in a pretty dark place. Well, he contemplated possibly ending his experience here on Earth because it was just all too much. Are you there with us, Lee? Hi, Lee. It looks like he'll be joining us audio. Maybe. Hi, Lee. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. So we heard very, very little of what you had to share earlier. So if you'll just start all over with us from when you were 5 years old, that would be great, so we can actually hear the full story.
Sure. So when my sister, I discovered I had a life fabulous. I traveled around the world, been a professional tennis player, award-winning producer, owned a major movie studio, was an owner in Hollywood, was in China when after ping pong diplomacy and had the privilege of beginning to open up business with China in the very, very beginning. But I've also been hospitalized in 6 different countries. I've had more than a dozen broken bones. I've broken some as many as 3 times. I've had my thumb pulled off. I've had toes amputated. I've had skin grafts, bone grafts, more infections and diseases than you can imagine. So I know healthcare intimately. And I have to say that for the vast majority of my life, despite that addiction to adrenaline that got me into all of those hospitals around the world and in the U.S., I always experienced obviously very, very, very competent treatment and highly compassionate care. And that was the one part of my treatment over my lifetime that was consistent. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm alive today because of it. All of that changed when in 2012, I went to my ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, for some allergy tests. I have to admit, in addition to being allergic to adrenaline, I'm also allergic to golf.
Oh, and no.
Everything, I'm trying to get over it. I've spent 25 years. I'm trying to start a 12-step program for people that are addicted to golf. So far, it hasn't worked. But I had done what for a golfer was a very big deal, which is I had qualified for the California State Senior Amateur Championship up at Pebble Beach, which for an amateur golfer is about as good as it gets. But I was having terrible allergies. I have a lot anyway, but these were different. And I couldn't breathe. My nose was all stopped up. I had terrible pain in my sinuses, and I couldn't hear. My eyes were watering. That's no way to play golf in the championships. Anyway, so I went to her to figure out what the problem was, what I was allergic to, and get the pills or liquids that would solve it. I walked out of her office 3 hours later with a diagnosis of stage 3, stage 4 advanced throat cancer. Now, the last thing in the world I would have expected in that meeting with her was that I was the healthiest guy you ever met. I was a marathon runner, former professional tennis player. I ate well, I drank properly, never smoked, with the possible exception of a little bit in San Francisco when I lived there in the 60s and 70s, but I never inhaled.
Sure.
At the very end of this allergy test, she says, "Lee, could I do one more test?" Okay, Dr. Putnam, whatever. She goes, "It won't take long and it won't hurt." Boy, I got to tell you something. That's never true in a doctor's office. But she said, "I'm going to do an endoscopy. I'm going to numb your nose, numb your throat, stick this thing up your nose. It'll go down in your throat and your chest just to have a look around." Sure. Now, as she's doing it, and she's sitting right next to me because she's manipulating this cord that she's poking around inside of me, I hear her make a noise, which was kind of a like a sharp intake of breath, like she had seen something really weird. Now, I've learned there's only two things you don't want to hear in a doctor's office. One is, oops. And the other is, So I turn to her, she turns to me, and with tears in her eyes, she puts her hand on my arm and says, Lee, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think you have throat cancer and it's very advanced. Now, I've been going to Dr. Putnam for a very long time, and she's got a wicked sense of humor. And I said to her, Dr. Putnam, you shouldn't joke about cancer. Everybody I know that had cancer is dead. So don't joke about it. And that's when she got very sad and said, Lee, it's right here. I can see the tumor. It's right at the base of your tongue, and it is advanced. She said, I'm going to cancel my next 3 hours of meeting. She said, can you get your wife in here, my then wife? She was making a movie over at Sony across the street. I called her. She came over. And Dr. Putnam canceled the next 2 hours of appointments to spend it with us, to tell us everything we needed to know about cancer. Now, I have to be honest with you. I didn't hear any of it.
I'm sure.
I was already planning my funeral services because, again, everybody I knew that had cancer was dead. And my wife took very copious notes, and thank God for that and her care during my treatment. But I walked out of there. As I was about to leave, we got up, and she handed me her business card. And on it, I thought, why is she giving me her business card? I've been a patient for 18 years. On it, she had written her home phone number. And she said, Lee, Erica, you need anything, anytime, until we get you through this, you call me at home. Well, at that point, I literally had gone from no hope to a little bit of hope that maybe I would make this simply because of her kindness, caring, and compassion. That's what I was used to. Mm-hmm. However, we can get into it in a minute. Every single thing after my treatment, at the very end of it, was the polar opposite of that kindness, that caring, and that compassion. So that's the next chapter, and that is what helped me discover my purpose.
Yeah, after all of that.
Think about that, or just want me to relate it?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to take our regular commercial break here in about 3-4 minutes.
Okay.
So continue to share with us for about another 2 minutes because I'll have a few things to share before commercial break.
Okay. So I have to say, given all those accidents and hospitalizations all over the world, I thought I was a pretty tough guy. And I thought, they're going to give me some medicine, chemo for 3 months. Then they're going to give me radiation to my throat. How tough can this be? Well, if you took all of those fractures, injuries, infections, diseases, and added them all up and multiplied them times 1,000, it wouldn't come close to the pain and misery I experienced as a result of that cancer and the treatment to try to cure it. It literally got me to the point where I was living in 15-minute increments from, can I make it from 2:15 to 2:30? In the beginning, the answer was always yes, but towards the end, it got to the point where I wasn't really even sure, given my misery, that I wanted to get to that 15-minute time period. It was that bad.
I can't even imagine being in that situation. I've had situations of my own, not that extreme, and it sounds scary and terrifying and extremely painful. but you're here to tell us the story. So I know that there's good news that results from all of this. And for those of you who are going to want to continue to hear this story, because it does get better, you'll want to join us over on kgradb.com in the members area. So if you've not picked up your membership yet, now's the time to do so. And you can use my special promo code SOUL21, which is SOUL 21. And when you use this promo code, it allows you to receive 30% off of your annual membership. And does it just give you access to my show? It gives you access to everything on KGRA in the members area. So that means there's special video presentations, interviews that you wouldn't see anywhere else, new series that will be coming up, conferences, and plus there's archives for days, like years and years of shows. So use the promo code SOUL21 to get that 30% off right now. And if you just want to try it out for a month and see how it is, you can also use the promo code WANDER, WANDER. And that way you can get the monthly rate. So come over there and join us. And to those of you who are already supporting us over on kgradb.com, thank you. And we'll see the rest of you there in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Hey members, the new KGRA-DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA-DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA-DB.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome to the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. Here you'll find great new content, including the KGRA classics, great shows from our archives. You'll be able to see the show times and information so you can see what show is currently on air. The on-air live button. So just go to this section and you'll be able to hear the show live with exceptional sound quality. We also have the Vault section. Make sure to subscribe to get access to great content and special features. We have the make content for our latest news and events, so make sure to sign up and you can be part of our forum. So make sure to check out the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. We look forward to seeing you there, and we hope that you enjoy the new website.
Hi friends, welcome back. If you are here, that means you're hanging out on kgradb.com. Thank you so much for your support and listening live with us in this moment. We appreciate your support. We don't take it for granted whatsoever, so thank you, thank you. Tonight we are sharing time with Lee Tomlinson. He's the author of Compassion Heals, From Self-Care to Healthcare. And just before the break, we were at a very important part of his journey. Lee, thank you and welcome back.
Oh, man. Good to be back.
I'm glad that we're at least able to get your voice and hear the details of your story, because what you're sharing with the world is so important. And although it happened in healthcare, I believe that I was saying this while you were working on your connection. Compassion is obviously a beautiful experience to share, and no matter what, no matter where we're at in life, with whatever experience we're going through.
Could not agree more, and especially in these perilous times when we're separated from each other, when there's so much violence and vitriol and anger and frustration. The only thing that's going to change that is simple human kindness. And there's so much science behind it that it's in healthcare and in the world. There is zero scientific doubt that being interacted with by someone who is kind, caring, and compassionate has an enormous positive benefit on your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. It's now undeniable. And so if what we want to do is connect with people, we need to go back to our genetic DNA, which is we are genetically engineered to need compassion to survive. If babies are born and don't get human touch after they're born, for whatever reason, they literally shrivel up and die. So there is no problem that can't be solved between warring nations if they're both willing to see the pain of the other, commit to doing whatever they can do to remove that pain, and coming together in a community. That's what allowed us to survive the dinosaurs. You know, as a single little bitty human in a land with, 20 tons of Tyrannosauruses, the only way we were able to survive that is not the survival of the strongest or the fittest. No, you were still lunch if you were strong and fit. What survived during that time and allowed us to develop into human beings was our ability to be nice to our fellow cave people, walk over and say, hey, I noticed that you lost somebody last night to that Tyrannosaurus while you were trying to sleep. We've had the same problem. How about this? How about you go to sleep tonight and I'll watch over you? And then when I go to sleep, you watch over me. Forming those kinds of communities, which we've largely lost now in the world, is what allowed us to survive then. And it allowed us to survive being lunch for dinosaurs. I promise you it can have the same effect to bring us all together as human beings and help each other through this crisis.
That's the thing. The division has been so strong and we are so torn on each side, right? And
no question.
When we get in moments of crisis, there is this beautiful thing that does occur in most situations, where we come together and we help our neighbors and help our friends and really connect with one another and are compassionate towards one another for what we're going through. And I always imagine a world being like that all the time, not just in a crisis situation.
Well, that is the ideal world, and it is attainable, but people have to understand that it's not about money, it's not about position, it's not about fame, it's not about fortune, it's not about any of that. What is the old saying? If you want to make somebody happy, be kind. If you want to be happy, be kind. The truth is, now we know scientifically that when we are kind with others, regardless of the size of the kind act, it positively impacts your immune system. If you're sick or ill, It increases your will to live. It calms your mind. It lowers your pain. It allows for and encourages a faster healing, the best healing possible in the shortest period of time and the longest term health. All of that from simple human kindness.
Yeah.
So think about it. Given that everybody right now, and everybody regardless of COVID, everybody in the world has pain, disappointment, loss, crisis, grief. Everybody has it. Everybody has pain. We can all relate to that. The question is whether or not we want to take positive action to serve others with simple human kindness,
Yeah.
to give them the kindness that will help heal them. Oh, and the exact same benefits go to the giver as the receiver.
Yes.
So it actually helps your mood. It actually helps your health. It actually helps your level of pain. It actually diminishes your sadness, your grief, your loss by being kind. So it's a win-win if there ever was one. And even more than that, more remarkable, is that it's transferable.
Yeah.
They've done scientific studies where someone does a kind act for somebody behind them in a line at a toll bridge. So they pay for themselves and they pay for the person behind them. They've found in dozens of studies like that, that the odds of the person then doing it the same for the person after them and the person after them and the person after them is, in the high 90s%. So not only is simple human kindness healing for the receiver, it's healing for the giver, and it can rotate out among people endlessly.
Yeah.
So it's a powerful, powerful medicine. And unfortunately, in medicine in the world, in medicine at least, we're kind of forgetting that. 50% of patients today, despite the medical necessity of being treated with compassion, 50% say they receive none whatsoever when they're in the presence of a healthcare professional.
How many?
That is a crisis. 50%.
That's too much.
That means 50%, excuse me, that throat cancer comes back, irritates my throat. Excuse me. When you consider that being treated compassionately is a necessity for the best outcome, that means half of us, when we go in to get medical help, do not receive the critical element of compassion that we must have for the quickest, best, long-lasting result. I don't know about you, but that sounds a bit like malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I experienced towards the end of my cancer treatment, when things seemed like they could never get any worse. I mean, I had lost 60 pounds. I could barely speak. I was in excruciating pain. I had unlimited amounts of fentanyl patches to dull the pain, never made it go away. I lost my ability to swallow. I had lost some of my ability to even speak because it was too excruciating. And that was at the very end of my treatment. And when things couldn't get any worse, I woke up in a hospital, which I've dubbed the hospital from hell, where I discovered that I had an unidentifiable septic infection on top of all the cancer and all of the treatment side effects. So now my life is a wreck. I'm in horrible pain. Like most people are when they're in horrible pain, we're jerks to everybody. So I was a jerk to my wife, despite her absolute loving kindness. I took it out on her a lot, so my marriage wasn't doing real well. I didn't know if I'd speak. I didn't know if I'd be able to work again. I haven't worked in years, running up huge debt. If there ever was a time in all my hospitalizations when I could have used a little simple human kindness, it was right there, right then, and I got zero. These were the rudest, most insensitive, unkind, uncaring, the total polar opposite of compassion. They were downright mean. And I discovered something. Since I was so used to being treated compassionately, it was stunning. I was on the edge of fighting to live. And when I put my life into somebody's hands, I can't speak for you, but that's a lot of power to give somebody that I don't know well. And when you give it to doctors and nurses and other people in a healthcare situation, if they decide you're not worth simple human kindness, I can't speak for anybody else, but I decided these gods and goddesses must be right. I am a burden. The world would be a much better place without me. And I decided that I would end my life, put on enough fentanyl patches to go to sleep. I don't know if you know about fentanyl, but it's 100 times more powerful than morphine. And I had unlimited amounts of them. Put on those patches, go to sleep, leave this earth, and leave my family with the proceeds from a Keyman life insurance policy from the studio that was worth a bundle, way more than I was worth, but a bundle, and they could live like kings and queens. And that is exactly what I decided to do. Problem was, I didn't know how many patches. You put on too many as suicide, they can't collect. And maybe you don't die, you just lay there like a lump for the rest of your life, and that'd be a bigger problem. So I had to find out how many patches to make it look like suicide. A good buddy of mine, and a very famous media doctor named Dr. Dean Adele, came to visit me just after I got out of that hospital from hell. And he sat down with me, and I was going to tell him and ask him how many patches. And I told him all the miseries I'd experienced, all the horrible stuff I'd experienced. And he was so kind. He just sat there. He listened. He never interrupted me. And when I stopped to catch my breath and try to get my throat to not ache, he put his hand on my arm, and he did a remarkable thing. He apologized to me. How loving is that? He said, Lee, I am absolutely appalled. Please accept my... Now, he had nothing to do with it. He was a doctor, but he didn't treat me. He said, what you experience is a complete and total lack of kindness and compassion. And it's happening more and more and more. Unfortunately, you're not the only one. And he said, so please accept my apology from a system that is increasingly decreasing the value of compassionate care. And he said, may I, he asked my permission, may I offer a suggestion? And I said, sure, Dean, please. He said, you know, if you die or kill yourself, you're just a statistic. You're just another person that's succumbed to this lack of compassion that is plaguing healthcare. He said, how about this? You're a C-level executive. You know the importance of making money, and hospitals are businesses. They got to make money. You're a customer service expert. We always prided ourselves at the studio and everywhere else on the quality of care that we gave our customers. And he said, you know, patients are customers. Last time I checked, they're paying humongous amounts of money for whatever it is they get. And he said, why don't you fight and live? And if you do, why don't you share the story of what that lack of kindness and compassion did to you and your will to live? And see if you can't inspire healthcare professionals to be more compassionate with their patients. And they're far too often burned out selves, which makes them unable to be compassionate. And in that moment, his love, his kindness, his caring, his sensitivity, his politeness literally showed me my life purpose. It gave me a reason to live. And I thought, if this guy thinks that much of me, maybe he's right. Maybe I could make a difference. And since then, I've been traveling the world. I've done, a couple of hundred keynotes to every imaginable type of healthcare professional and others about the healing power of compassion, regardless of the business, for both giver, receiver, and the bottom line of the organizations in which their lives intersect. So that's how I discovered my purpose in life. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. No. It was excruciating on every imaginable level. But I got to be honest with you. I have never been happier, despite all the production and the ownership and the big houses and the fame and all of that stuff. Nothing in my life has been more satisfying, more joyous than speaking with healthcare professionals in whose hands I have regularly put my life to inspire them to be more compassionate with themselves, to avoid burnout, so they can be their most compassionate selves with us patients when we need it the most. I consider myself very lucky despite all of those experiences, and my life has never been better.
First of all, before I ask you more questions, how are you in your recovery now?
I am what's called, great question. I am what's called 5 years NED. That means no evidence of disease, which means I am statistically cured.
Beautiful.
So I still have side effects and neuropathy, and I have a ton of side effects that'll never go away. But they're a small price to pay for the gift of life and breath. So my recovery is going splendidly. I just had my vitals and all of that stuff done by my oncologist every 6 months. They were perfect, and I am statistically cured, and infinitely grateful to the oncologists, the nurses, the doctors, the assistants, everybody else at my oncology, Beverly Hills Cancer Center, and UCLA Health, where the vast majority of my treatment took place.
Beautiful. I am so glad to hear that. So glad. And
Me too.
I'm sure, because now you have so much to share. It seems like with most of the guests that I share time with, they go through something substantial, and in that experience, they find their purpose, just like you did. And I think it's like the phoenix rising. You think that there's nothing left, and then you find out there's so much more. And I love that you were able to find this purpose and this passion in the middle of all of that heavy stuff that you were going through in that moment.
Well, thank you. You know, what allowed me to get there in the most dire of circumstances was one single human being gifting me 5 minutes of his time, and him expressing his love, his caring, his compassion for me. That's what made the difference. Yes, I had treatment for cancer. Yes, I had radiation and chemo and whatever for the infection, blah, blah, blah. But what literally saved my life was that single little bitty short conversation with Dr. Edel. And that is what I've used to develop the message of the necessity of providing compassion for your friends' health, your family's health, your neighbor's health, your colleagues' health, and your health. The statistics, the numbers, the scientific studies are unequivocal about the immense healing power of compassion, and the fact in healthcare and elsewhere, it is rapidly disappearing.
Right.
We need to take action, or just sit around and moan about it, or take action to change it. And we can talk about that a little bit later.
Oh, yes. In the second half, I can't wait to hear in all the ways that we can make those changes and assist one another. I'm sure with everything that you're doing, all of the places you're speaking and sharing this passion you have, you're running into a lot of new problems that weren't there previous to this pandemic. And the way that healthcare providers are treated now versus, 2 years ago. How are they receiving everything that you are sharing with them?
I have to say, I did a keynote the other day for I don't know, what is it, 450 doctors at an ending burnout, it was the ending physician burnout summit. And again, I'm not live. I'm not in front of the audience. I'm, have to do the doggone things virtually because of the situation. So it's not quite the same. I can't see and feel them like I normally would. However, the comments that I got in the chat box, even after 200 of these, were astonishing. There was a doctor who said, Lee, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are a healer.
That is
That's
perfect.
the kind of reception, because I'm talking to them about, guys, gals, you got to love yourself before you love us, because you're not going to be healthy enough. When you burn out, your medical errors go up and you deprive us of the power of compassion, because when you're burned out, you're emotionally numb.
Mm-hmm.
There is no positiveness to giving and giving and giving until you kill yourself. Because you'll kill us, you'll kill your family, you'll kill your colleagues, you'll kill the bottom line at the same time. So really what I'm saying to everybody, whether it's healthcare or not, is you have to heal yourself before you can be of any value to anybody else. So you've got to look after your health. You've got to look after your eating, your exercise, your help, your companionship, your support. You have to do whatever it takes to maintain your own health first, then worry about us patients. So they are given the last year and a half, and the rise in suicide among doctors. It's already the highest suicide rate of any profession in America are doctors. Every year, nearly 500 doctors commit suicide.
That's
500.
unreal. Wow.
And
I could see why they would think that was a choice. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of stress that they're under.
yes, and pain. And listen, imagine this. You go to work every day. What's the first thing you see? Somebody with an arm cut off, somebody with cancer, somebody who lost their baby, somebody who's in the final stages of dementia, I can't speak for you, but, and then there's COVID.
Right.
I can't speak for you, but can you imagine doing that every single day?
No.
I mean, this is not a place you go into medicine to have fun.
No.
It is a place of misery. Yes, you can sometimes cure, but only sometimes. And the rest of it, people get worse and people die under your auspices. Dealing with that, in addition to extreme exhaustion from the simple volume that's happening now in COVID, those numbers are going up.
Yeah.
Suicide rates are going up among nurses, doctors, administrators, or they're quitting medicine and leaving us with a tremendous shortage of experts to take care of us. This is something we've got to address right here, right now, because every one of us is going to need medical care before we're dead, period. 99.95% of all people need health care at some point in their lives. Mm-hmm. And if you're being treated by people who are burned out, insensitive, unkind, and emotionally numb, your health is in danger as well. So
Absolutely.
It is a crisis of huge size that unless we start taking measures like I'm trying to do through my book, through my speaking and the documentary we're working on as well, to reach every one of 22 million healthcare professionals and say, put you first. Get healthy, put you first, then put your patients first.
Yeah.
And that message is being heard loud and clear and very, very positively received. Because they know that.
Right.
Somebody to tell them.
Right. I mean, I feel like we all need a reminder, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We all just get in our own way so many times, and to have somebody show up and remind us how important we are.
Yes. You have, listen to this. So here's the story. We have time? Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, we have a few minutes before break. Absolutely.
I just didn't know. So it's a quick story. So people wonder, what can a little kindness do? Come on, you're so sappy. That's cartoonish. Well, a couple of stories. One, there was a fellow who wrote a suicide note. He said, I'm going to walk to the bridge and I'm going to jump unless one single person makes eye contact with me. They found his body in the bay. He jumped, which means that on his walk there, however long it was, whatever people he walked past, not one connected with him. All he needed was a glance to say, I see you. I appreciate you, fellow human. And he wouldn't have jumped. That's the power of kindness. You never know when someone like me, like him, is considering ending their life out of a sense of disassociation, misery, pain, whatever.
Right.
And small, tiny acts of kindness, even if they don't save a life, which some of them will always have a very positive impact on the receiver. Whether it's a billionaire and you open the door for them, or it's a homeless person you give $1 to, both of them have enormous mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual benefits for the receiver you give it to and for you.
It's true.
My dad told me a story about one of his patients that was depressed. And, he prescribed various drugs and whatever to mitigate some of that. But that doesn't remove the problem. That just sort of numbs it. So he gave this guy an assignment. He said, okay, here's what I want you to do. For the next 30 days, I want you to go out and I want you to do one kind act a day and write it down. Guy came back 30 days later with his book of all the kind acts he had done, and they tested his mental state, and it was dramatically improved over what it was when he first started that challenge. That's the power. Forget the people who received whatever it was he gave them or did for them.
Right.
That's obvious.
Right.
But it had that same impact on him. It raised his spirit.
Right.
It increased his capacity to resist disease. It made him happier.
Yeah. I see this happen all around me all of the time, just in my observations, because I watch people intently. They're interesting to me. But
they all on both sides of the coin.
Yes, exactly. And it is amazing the way the energy does shift when they feel seen and acknowledged. And even if they didn't think they needed it, they realized that smile mattered, that hello mattered. And it makes them feel better. Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick short break. We'll go commercial free the second hour. So all of you who are joining us, stay close and we'll be right back.
Hey members, the new KGRA-DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA-DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA-DB.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome to the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. Here you'll find great new content, including the KGRA Classics, great shows from our archives. You'll be able to see the show times and information so you can see what show is currently on air. The on-air live button. So just go to this section and you'll be able to hear the show live with exceptional sound quality. We also have the Vault section. Make sure to subscribe to get access to great content and special features. We have the make content for our latest news and events, so make sure to sign up and you can be part of our forum. So make sure to check out the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. We look forward to seeing you there, and we hope that you enjoy the new website.
Hi friends, welcome back. You are listening to Soul Wanderings here on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Hudson Valley, New York. Tonight we are sharing time with our guest, Lee Tomlinson, and he is the author of Compassion Heals from Self-Care to Healthcare, which is this book right here. My lighting's kind of dark in my room right now. Sorry about that. But you can see it. It's beautiful cover. Welcome back to the show, Lee. I really enjoyed your stories, and I feel like inspiration is happening for others to really make a difference in each other's lives. Just hearing what you've shared so far. I know I always make a conscious effort to, if anything, just smile. And I've noticed most people don't receive that very well anymore because there is so much going on. Like, who do we trust? Who are our friends? All of that division I was talking about earlier. And not only that, we have masks on, a lot of us. And so you're not able to see that smile. So there are other ways that you can show compassion and kindness in the world. What are some ways that you have found to be the most moving when you've done with what you've done with others?
Well, I mean, the most moving, I've seen people stop their car in the middle of a freeway, put it in front of an accident so that people would hit their car rather than hitting the people that were injured in the two cars that had crashed. I've seen doctors give a kidney, be a kidney donor for a patient that they didn't know before they met them. Not a family member, but a complete and total stranger. The simple conversation I had with Dr. Edel, his taking the time out of his busy schedule to A, come visit me, and B, make a suggestion that that literally kept me from taking my own life. There are examples of them every single day. There was a young woman who at her high school I love this story. At her high school graduation was awarded, and I may have the number wrong, but it was something like a $40,000 scholarship. And she was summa cum laude. She was a superstar. So she goes up to get the certificate or whatever it is, announcing her award. And she goes, "Thank you very much. I'm deeply honored, but I would like to donate this to people who need it more than I do in my community. So I'd like to give it back, and let's figure out who we can give it to that needs it even more than I do." Now, she's in high school. This isn't a woman who's got her life all together and everything is figured out and she's got her values. And no, this is a high school student who gave away a $40-some thousand award because she knew other people could use it even more than she could. She knew she could make it on her own.
Incredible.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
There's one other story that just knocks me out, and I use it oftentimes in my keynote addresses to healthcare providers. Because one of the biggest barriers, if that's the right word, to being compassionate, people say, well, I just don't have the time. You know, particularly doctors and nurses. You know, I've got 8 other patients, and I haven't got the time. You know, as if being compassionate took 20 minutes or an hour. So there's a video that I show of a gentleman who was a medic in Fallujah in Iraq, and he and his squadron were pinned down by enemy fire and were surrounded in there in dire circumstances. People had already been shot and killed. And as he's hunkering down, just trying to survive, he was so literally gunshots and rockets. He looks over and sees one of his fellow soldiers get shot in the neck and go down. Without hesitating and without his helmet, this medic jumps up, runs over to the guy, grabs him, throws him over his shoulder, and runs across this field of sand, you know, where there's gunshots everywhere, and puts him into the helicopter. And then what do you suppose he does? Before he lets this man go, he's fully conscious, although shot through the neck, he gives him a kiss on the forehead. A kiss on the forehead. When we're children and we get a boo-boo, we don't run to the ER first, check ourselves in, tell the attending that, you know, we have a cut on my lower leg. I think I'm going to need some stitches, and be sure to put tetanus in there, and, make sure you sew it up neatly so I don't have a big scar, because, you know, I wear shorts all the time. No! That's not what we do as kids. What do? We run to mom and dad. Boom. And what do we want? Or dad, or your brother, or your sister, anybody you know that loves you. Mm-hmm. And what do you want? You want a hug and a kiss. And when you get that hug and a kiss, the pain goes down. It's not to say that everything is healed. No. But the fear is lessened, the pain is lessened, and you begin to heal immediately. Then you can go to the ER in much better shape. So the simple fact about the power of human kindness is, it's not about the size of the gift. It's the fact that you thought to give it to somebody and you didn't have to. It was your kindness and generosity. That's what gets us. More so than the gift itself. Because all of us fear, am I loved? Am I okay? Am I good enough? You know, do people like me? Do they love me? Am I proceeding well? Well, when someone does a kind act, it's an affirmation of who you are. You are a valuable human being. Unlike that fellow who walked to the bridge and nobody even looked at him and he jumped off. He didn't feel valued. He didn't feel seen. He didn't feel appreciated. And all it would have taken was a glance and a nod of the head. Even if you're wearing a mask, you can still acknowledge the presence of other with a nod of the head by making eye contact. That's very intimate. And
very simple gestures.
Yep. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to put them through college. You don't have to pay their car off. You know, you don't have to take care of their kids for a week while they go in. No! Just be kind. It's the small acts that you can do easily if you're alert to the opportunities that can have the greatest impact.
Right.
Come out of who you really are, which is a naturally compassionate human being who wants to give because you feel the pain when you're healthy. You feel the pain of others, and you're driven by a need to do something. You put kids in a room with some other little child that's crying, they will immediately go over to that child and start to comfort it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the power of compassion. And when those kids do that with their other little kids, those kids stop crying because they know they're safe. And they know they got friends. They know they got people who care about them because they just got a hug from somebody. So
and somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we forget that. We forget those little things.
Yes. Yes. Or it's beaten out of us. Let's be honest. Kids are born with the natural inclination to intimately feel the pain of another and feel moved to do something to lessen or remove it. What happens is important people in our lives either treat us badly, painfully, horribly, and make us afraid of everybody, or we're told it's weak. We're told, no, don't be nice to this category of human or that category of human, or don't be good to men or if you're a woman, or don't be good to women if you're a man, don't be kind to immigrants. You learn all of these things which are in direct opposition to your genetic composition, and we not only forget about kindness, we kind of have it beaten out of us. And it takes an adult who's willing to look at themselves, see the pain they have, which all of us do, and never, ever, ever take it out on anybody else. If we value kindness and compassion for ourselves and humanity. That's what it takes, is a commitment to take action, to put more kindness into the world, just like my shrink did with that patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're bringing up some very valid points, and it's such good reminders. I'm so happy to have you here. This is so good. You started a movement, a Compassion Heals movement. Why don't you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, I mean, once I realized my mission, my purpose, call it what you will, which was try to bring more compassion specifically to healthcare and generally into the world, because it does ripple out. I began to think, okay, how do I share that message? How do I do what Dr. Edel suggested I do and communicate it, beginning with healthcare professionals? Well, if I recovered my voice, which I clearly did, it doesn't sound as good as it used to, but it still have it. I knew that I could speak. So I began doing keynotes, and through the grace of the universe, they just started appearing on my doorstep. I did one at Johns Hopkins, and then another one I got to do a TED Talk right off the bat. And they invited me. I didn't even have to apply. And then they started coming in. And then somewhere a couple of years ago, somebody said, Lee, you keep saying your goal is to reach 22 million healthcare professionals with the need for self-compassion and then compassion for their patients. You're never going to reach 22 million people on stages. I don't care if every one of your talks has 5,000 people in the audience. You're never going to do it. Ooh, it was like, yeah, duh. So what else can I do? I can write a book. And so I sat down, and the pandemic helped me finish it, gave me the time.
Yes.
And that's how Compassion Heals, from self-care to healthcare, got made and written and released recently on Amazon and on my website, actually. But the same person came to me and said, wow, great book, Lee, very inspiring, educational, fabulous. But Lee, you're not going to sell 22 million of these books. How are you going to reach all those other healthcare professionals? Okay. Well, in my past life, I was I don't mean to be immodest, but I was an award-winning television producer for CBS and the American Film Institute. And so the same person said, I know you don't like the film industry anymore, but you got to make a movie. You got to make a documentary about all the stuff you talk about to reveal the heart science and business of compassion, not just the healthcare, it's every man, woman, and child on the earth. We need it now more than anybody. So during the pandemic, when everything else sort of slowed down, I put together what's called a pitch document for a movie, a documentary series, and we are now in the process of securing corporate partners to fund it and international distribution of it in all of the new channels that are available online and around the world.
So awesome.
It's been an evolution.
Congratulations. That is amazing.
Fun, huh?
So fun. What your purpose is so big, and you're one person, yet you have all of these supporters and following to spread this compassion all over the world. I just think, wow.
Exactly.
And it all began from your experience.
Yep. It all began with a horrible experience that turned into the gift of a lifetime during the worst period of my time, which was my cancer treatment and my hospitalization at the end of it. It's like, God, seriously, you couldn't just write a message in the sky, with fire saying, Lee, you gotta help people with compassion. No, you had to give me, you let me get cancer, really? And
would you have seen it? Would you have paid attention?
No, I wouldn't.
Exactly.
My eyes were so fixed on fame and fortune and position and acquisitions, I would never have seen it. So the universe conspired to say, okay, this is why we put you on this earth. This is why you wanted to come to earth this time. Mm-hmm. We're going to take it all away so that you can finally focus on what you're meant to do. And that is to revive the rapidly disappearing presence of kindness and compassion in healthcare in the world. And I get to do that. Will I reach everybody in the world? No. Will I reach all 22 million? Maybe. But I'm going to keep doing it until I leave this mortal coil. That's what makes my day worth living.
It has so much purpose and so much meaning to it. How could you not want to wake up in the morning and just be so thankful for another day and the opportunity to change someone's day or even life?
Yes. And we all have that power. There's nothing special about me.
Right. I'm
genetically the same as you and everybody else on this face of the planet. We just need to realize that rather than sitting around pissing and moaning about this is bad and that stinks and this stinks and I mean, it's not that that's not kind of normal, but if we let that determine how we interact with our fellow human beings, that will kill us if we don't turn to our native natural state of being compassionate and saying, look, bud, I feel your pain. I get it. Whatever it is, I get it. I will look after you because I care about you. Not because I hope you'll do it for me, but I do know that if I keep doing that, that's what will happen. People will return that because that's what compassion does. You give it, you get it, you give it, you get it. You want to make somebody happy, be kind. You want to be happy, be kind. Simple. We got to do it. And if I could mention one more thing.
Yes,
so
of course.
If you go to my website, we have what's called the Compassion Heals Challenge, and it is exactly that. It is a 7-day, not 30, but 7-day challenge. Go to LeeTomlinson.com. LeeTomlinson.com. And on that first page, aside from a picture of me in a patient's gown doing my TED Talk, there's a place where you can sign up for the Compassion Heals Challenge. If you do it every day, and then we're not going to sell you information, we're not going to do any of that, we're not going to sell you anything. We just want you to commit to taking action to making the world a better place. So we're going to say every day for 7 days, you do one little itty bitty kind act. One. Doesn't have to be huge. One itty bitty little one every day for 7 days. We'll send you encouragement and emails to keep you going. But after the 7th day, we're going to give you a certificate of completion. But better than that, we're going to give you a free digital copy of my new book. No cost. All you have to do, 7 days of kind act, LeeTomlinson.com, Compassion Heals Challenge. Take the challenge. Be a force for good. Yeah. Commit to using your best self to heal yourself of your pain, to heal the pain of others, and make the world better than it is right now.
Yes.
So take the challenge and do it. Take action.
Yeah, I love that so much, and what a generous offer for you to give them a book by being good. You said what comes around goes around, and here you are.
Yep. Yeah.
I have to recommend this book to everyone. It is a quick read. I read it in one day. I mean, I didn't sit and read it all in one. I finished it in a day. But it's like 100 pages. It's Lee's story, what he shared with us, but so much more. So head over to his website. I did post it in the chat room for all of you to get on there really easily. And also, thank you to those listeners like Blue who are also posting Lee's information here in chat and supporting him. Thank you. We have such a great group listening, Lee.
For me too.
So supportive.
Yay.
It's such a simple thing, like I was saying, and I don't know where the disconnect happens with so many of us, because we all need it, we all crave it, we all want it in our lives, and it's not something that's ever going to be a bad thing, being compassionate and kind to one another, and the rewards from being so, like, you reap what you sow, right? You send out good to the world sends you good back. It's just a win-win for everyone involved, and the vibration of the energy across our world, if we were to be more kind to one another. I imagine, I always say, could you imagine? Of course we could imagine, but let's make it happen.
Well, let's do it. I mean, here's the thing. We can imagine all day long. I mean, I can close my eyes and imagine all sorts of things. Now, look,
right.
If you're giving and getting compassion, it doesn't mean you're going to have a perfect life.
Mm-hmm.
I still have issues with my health relative to the treatment and the damage that was done, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I know when I have pain, mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual, I know now I've identified thousands of people that I'm connected to as a result of my work that would do anything for me.
Yeah.
It's not about that makes me important, but it absolutely heals my heart and gives me the incentive to continue doing good work.
Yes.
You get what you give. It's not brain surgery. And it's not, look at the guy, walking to the bridge. What if you had walked by this guy and you recognized him and you realized that you hadn't glanced at him, but you recognized him, and if you had, you'd have saved his life.
Right.
That's the power you have. Why not do that? Yeah, some of the people are so damaged and so hurt, they'll ignore you or they'll be grumpy, or so what?
Yeah.
I'm grumpy.
Do it anyway. Do it anyway.
Yeah, do it anyway. It will And eventually, they just need a little bit more, as do you sometimes when you're grumpy or in pain or suffering. We're all that way. And sometimes we express it to others, and hopefully they will love us enough to overlook it and go, wow, you're in terrible pain. Let me give you a hug. Whatever that looks like, physical, verbal, written, however it's expressed. Just give me that hug. That's what I need right now. I don't need answers. I need a hug.
Hugs are the best. Hugs are the best.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't have to be physical, but you're giving a hug to someone. You say, I care, when you go out of your way to do something that isn't required of you. That's the definition of compassion. I see you've got a need. I'm going to do it. That is healing to the person who receives it. And you know what? You spend an afternoon in a soup kitchen feeding starving people, you'll walk out feeling like $1 million.
Yeah.
Because you made a tangible difference in the lives of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right.
That's the best feeling in the world. That's all we ever want as human beings, is to make a difference in the lives of others and know we matter.
Exactly. Tell me a little bit more about your life prior to having this purpose. It was a lot different than it is now.
Well, that's the understatement of the year.
Right. Everything I've learned about you before this, I was like, whoa, these are two very different lives.
Oh, it's apples and potatoes. So backing up, let's see where to start. So I was a world-ranked professional tennis player. I traveled the world making a living playing tournaments, went to 5 different continents, 50 different countries, in my shorts, running around, chasing a tennis ball for a living. Life doesn't get much better than that. When I tired of that, which I was surprised I ever did, but I did. And there were young kids coming up who were better than I was. And it was like, I didn't want to lose to a 20-year-old. I was literally out of the blue invited to go to China with one of the people that President Nixon had invited to try to open trade with the communist Chinese government, and spent the next 6 or 7 years doing that with him, literally dealing with a government and people who had never in their lifetimes seen somebody from the West. They didn't know what, Western people looked like. I used to run marathons, so while we were waiting for factory or samples, whatever, I would go run, and it was hot, so I'd wear my running shorts and my shoes, and that was it. Everybody has a bicycle in China. I would have 100 people following me on their bicycles in the road, staring at me, going, what's wrong with this guy? It's 100 degrees out here. Why is he mostly naked? Why is he really white? And what the heck's wrong with his eyes? They were like looking at me like I was a monster from outer space. So anyway, did that for a long time, and then realized that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in the Philippines. We had expanded in the Philippines, Hong Kong, Singapore, China, and realized my 2 passions were sports and entertainment. So I came back and was lucky enough, by the sheer luck of the universe, to be invited by the U.S. Olympic Committee to help them raise the fund, or to actually raise the funds for a major U.S. Olympic event that was taking place in Los Angeles, which I did. And then when that was over, I was invited by the American Film Institute, who had a disaster in that most of their funding came from donations and the National Endowment for the Arts, the NEA, which was funded by President Johnson to support the arts in the United States. And President Bush banned it saying too many liberals, Bush number one. So all of a sudden, AFI, who was training the best of the best of the best filmmakers, had lost 40% of their budget overnight. So they said, Lee, you're good at starting businesses from scratch. Invent some businesses that we can take advantage of their profits, so we're earning money rather than just begging for it. Okay. I came up with an idea it turns out that 1898, the first ticket ever sold to a movie happened in a place called Bayou's Dance Hall in Manhattan, New York City. And we were in 1996, and I thought, wow, 2 years from now, we're going to have the 100th anniversary of the movie making business. We got to celebrate that. So, but I didn't know how. I came up with an idea, 100th anniversary. Why don't we have the biggest names in Hollywood, directors, producers, costume designers, actors, actresses, you name it. Have them choose the 100 greatest movies of the century and then reveal them in a countdown fashion from number 100 to the top 10 to the top 1, and show the best clips from the best movies ever made being talked about by the biggest stars on the face of the planet who love that particular movie.
Wow.
We couldn't get any of the networks. There were only 4 then, and Fox was just coming alive, NBC, ABC, and CBS. So we bought 3 hours for $3 million from CBS, produced the show with loans of $3.5 million. So we were $6.5 million in it.
Wow.
And then went out and found corporate sponsors to be in the movie and be promoted and, all the stuff that goes along with that. We ended up doing $13 million worth of sales that first year. So we netted $6 million. Long story longer. We did 10 years of those 3-hour primetime CBS specials, netted AFI in the vicinity of 9 figures, low 9 figures, so approaching $100 million, and netted them probably half of that. So we solved all of their problems moving forward to this day. While I was finishing that, I was invited to get involved with building a 1 million square foot studio office residential commercial complex in Midtown Manhattan in New York City. There were no dedicated production spaces and everybody wanted to shoot in New York. So we thought we'll build one. We had the funding, we had the permits. We were within 2 months of breaking ground on this 1 million square foot, 28-story, gigantic city block size facility when 9/11 happened. Wow. And it shut us down. So we had to give up on that, come home with our tails between our legs, and we ended up buying Culver Studio, where movies like Citizen Kane, Gone with the Wind, E.T., Raging Bull, and owners like the original Jack Kennedy's father, Lucy and Desi, Howard Hughes, have all owned it over time. And it's where a higher percentage of the 100 greatest movies were filmed there relative to how many stages we had than any other studio in Hollywood. So we owned it. We then developed and built Albuquerque Studios, a $100 million facility there, after we bought Culver from Sony for $150 million. And then I got cancer, and the rest, as they say, is history. So that's my total life story.
Well, the reason why I wanted you to share it, it's such a drastic change from where you were and the mindset you were in versus where you are now. Right. And I feel like that is so inspirational to other people who are really going through some challenging things, to know that they can come through to the other side of those experiences so much different and even better than they were before.
That's true. And, somebody, they always said this to me while I was being treated, and I absolutely hated hearing it, because it's like, you've never had cancer when you say this. because all this stuff, my business was going away, my relationship, my life. Well, Lee, when one door closes, another door opens, and I wanted to punch him in the face.
Right, you do.
Shut up. Let's talk about how miserable I am. Well, guess what? What finally resonated with me was when somebody said, Lee, when one door closes, another one opens. And then he added, but most people are so fixed on the doors that close, they never notice the ones that are opening.
Correct.
Literally, I can remember the moment I heard that. And it was one of those, oh my God, what, why, what is it about this cancer that I'm better because of it? And I started writing down daily things that I was grateful for, not only that I had experienced before, but all of the new things I was experiencing that I would never, all of the kindness, all of the caring, all of the support, all of the help, all of the purpose, all of the joy, all of those things that I needed to look at it as an opportunity rather than just a disaster. Does that mean it wasn't a disaster? Does that mean those people in Louisiana aren't suffering? Does that mean that somebody with cancer, it's a blessing? Not in and of itself. But there are blessings. There are situations to be grateful for that if we look, we will see them and they will power us no matter how dire the circumstances. So that's what I tell people. I do a talk for Cancer Survivor Group where we celebrate the simple gift of life. And it's called The Blessings of Cancer, ? And then seriously, ! And that's what I talk about. And I have people in those rooms who've been through the worst of cancer share the blessings they've experienced because of their cancer. Wow. And we celebrate that. So it ain't easy looking for those doors that are opening. But if you can allow yourself to look, you'll be shocked. No matter your pain, no matter the magnitude, no matter your health, no matter anything, there are always blessings to be found if you're willing and open to seeing them.
Yeah, and that's it, right? And those of us who are so closed off are really missing out on some beautiful opportunities.
Yep, totally. And life-changing, and life-affirming, and life-enhancing.
Right.
If you just said to me before I got cancer, well, you know what? Your life's going to be great. You just got to get cancer. What?
You wouldn't sign up for that, no.
Dead, it's like, shut up. Anyway, but the truth is, if we can go through those situations and feel what we're grateful for and look for how our life has improved, they are there. Unless we're living in a cave by ourselves, never in contact with any other human beings, we have blessings. Mm-hmm. We just got to look and then express them to others.
Right? I was going to say the follow through. We receive these blessings, and then if we just hold on to them, then what? It's so much. You talk about sharing this compassion with the world, and that's one of the ways that we can do that. Like, we receive these blessings, return them into the universe and see what happens.
Yeah, it's our way of saying thank you.
Yes.
We don't always get to thank the sources of our blessing. Sometimes they just happen.
Accurate.
Who do I thank, for surviving cancer? Who do I thank? Dr. Edel for having that conversation with me. But, the way I express my gratitude is with kindness and more of it. And when I'm angry and frustrated and everything else, I go, whoa. Seriously, is this 20-minute hold waiting for your ex on the phone, or not ex-wife, but ex, whatever it is, And it's the 9th time this has happened to me today. And I'm furious, like, okay, calm down, Lee, calm down. Are you breathing? Yes. Are you in any pain? No. Do you have people who love you? Yes. Do you have enough food in the kitchen? Yeah. Do you have a nice place to live? Yeah. Do you have work that's meaningful and enjoy it? Yeah. Then shut up, Lee, because it doesn't matter as much as that. Come on. And literally, just by reminding myself of that, it gets me out of the bad mood and puts that 20-minute hold in perspective. Gratitude is everything.
Oh, everything, yes.
That's when we're empowered to give it to others by being kind with them. But if we don't feel gratitude and all we feel is pain, and we don't look for those areas of gratitude, we'll never express our kindness and compassion, and we will never get it back. Hurt people hurt people. You never see a guy or a woman who's in great spirits. Life is going wonderfully in a mall with a rifle shooting people, or a church, or a synagogue. You never see that. But the most hurt people, the ones in the greatest pain, doesn't excuse it, are the ones that need compassion the most. So if we want the world to be a better place, all we have to do is figure out what we're grateful for, give thanks for it, and express our gratitude to the people who gave it to us. And if it wasn't people, express it to the world.
Yeah.
Simple human kindness is the answer to every single mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual bit of pain that we have.
I couldn't agree more.
Scientifically proven.
Yeah, this is exactly why I wanted you on the show. When I read your story and what you had to share, this message will never get old for me. Standing in gratitude and sharing your light with the world. They're two of the most important things I have in my life that have brought me out of so much darkness. And I always want to remind people, like, it seems so hard in the moment, right? Because, I mean, it probably is. It probably is real hard for you in that moment. But having someone like your doctor come in and have that compassion for you, it just took that one person to completely alter the course of your direction.
Well, even bigger than that.
I mean, your direction in life in general, like your experience, everything. Yes. Yeah, I just mean the direction in which you were headed, right? But now you're here to share that. Right. And if it only took that one person, and now you're here inspiring and motivating all of our listeners to do better for yourself and share that with the world, because it's needed and it's so important, and all around, I keep saying how beautiful it is, but it really is. When you have those experiences, you can't put a cost on those. Those are experiences that you'll never have again, and they will stick with you for your lifetime.
Well, I mean, think about that guy who was shot in the neck and was set down in that evac helicopter. And his colleague, or not colleague, what do you call him? Fellow soldier, the medic, gives him a kiss on his foot. Now, he's not going to remember the stitches. He's not going to remember the blood transfusions. He's not going to remember the skin grafts, the bone. He's not going to remember any of that crap. But I promise you, he will remember that kiss till the day he dies. And, when I was a little boy, and I had my thumb pulled off, water skiing at the age of 10. Fortunately, I was connected with a doctor who was the coolest guy in the world. And he started doing skin grafts and bone grafts to build me at least a semblance of a thumb, because, as he said, you haven't got a thumb, Lee. Although I was Butch then. Butch, if you haven't got a thumb, you're just like a monkey, and because they don't have thumbs, and we got to give you a thumb, so I'm going to make you a new one. Anyway, 6 years. Point is, after about the 10th operation one night, I'm laying in the hospital. I'm maybe 12, 13 years old. And he comes in and goes, "Hey, good to see you. How's things?" And he goes, "Okay, tomorrow morning, when we take off your toe, and we're going to take the skin off, and take the toenail off of it, and then we're going to find a way to attach it to the remnant of your hand. Well, I didn't know that. So, I'm a little kid, and wait a minute. I already lost my thumb. I got scars all over my body from the skin grafts and the bone grafts and the hip and the thing. And now you're going to cut off my toe, and now I won't be able to walk or run, and I can't play baseball because I haven't got a thumb. I started to cry. And he goes, "Oh, you didn't know about the toe part, did you?" I said, "No." And he said, "Lee, Butch, I promise you, it's going to take a little while. You'll be able to run with the fastest of anybody. I guarantee it. I am so sure of it that if there was any way I could, I would give you my toe. But it won't. It needs to be from your body." And in that moment, his loving kindness, his staying with me, his not shaming me for crying, his touching me while he spoke to me, his offer to give his own part of his body for me, calmed me down, comforted me. It was the definition. Now that was not exactly, 66 years ago. I will remember Dr. Franklin Ashley till the moment I draw my last breath because of his kindness. How long did that little conversation take? 2 minutes? Maybe? It's not about length. It's about heart. And when you get it, it is deeply, deeply, deeply impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that just it's a feel good. I'm going to leave this show tonight just feeling all sorts of
Good.
Yeah, I love stories like that though, right? And you think about all of these moments that are happening to all of us, and we're not sharing them and talking about those either. And they're contagious. Like you hear those stories and you have all this oxytocin just building up in your body. You just feel really good.
Yes.
And having the conversations about it is just as magical as doing the actual work. There was a question / comment in our chat room I'm going to share with you. The question is, how important is it to share your need? And then the comment after is, our culture puts great value in keeping your own struggle to yourself. Sharing your trauma is giving others the gift of allowing them to help. So how important is it to share your need?
Oh, it's who we are as human beings. Look, we're going to show it either forthrightly and open and honest, or we're going to store it, jam it down, and have it come out unexpectedly and violently.
Right.
So we all have pain. We all need to look deeply, as I said before, look deeply, discover what pains us, and work hard to release it, just like we would a physical malady. And once we do and we're free of that or lessen, then our true self, the loving, the kind, the caring, the being that feels others' pain and is naturally, genetically moved to help, can come out.
Yeah.
And if you want to help remove your own pain, which everybody has, be kind, be kind, be kind. It will heal you as much as it does everybody else's pain. You know, when I gave up, now I understand a professional athlete, big business guy, blah, 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 tough, physically, been through all this stuff, and lived through it. When I gave up and decided I was going to end my life was the most humiliating moment of my life, because I was raised by a family. It's like, keep your pain to yourself. Nobody wants to hear you bitch about how bad you feel. Deal with it. Just fuck up. The worst advice I've ever gotten. So, look, it's normal to feel pain. The question is, what do we do with it? Do we work to relieve it like we would if it was physical, or do we just allow it to fester? And the answer is, you've got to deal with it so you're healthy enough to be able to be compassionate in circumstances where people need it. So it starts with self-care. Title of the book, Compassion Heals, from self-care to healthcare. There is no shame. And if you're around people who shame you for sharing your pain, get them out of your life.
You're around the wrong people.
You're around the wrong people. I have one of the steps I do with doctors and nurses when we talk about burnout. One of the steps I took to recover from it was, I have a little saying that I adhere to. It's Latin, nulle queso mentule. And a rough translation is no assholes, please. If you're a jerk, go with God. Just go in the other direction, because I don't want to be around you. I won't work with you. I won't be your friend. I won't be your colleague. Just go do your life any way you want to. I'm not going to allow myself to be around people that don't see my pain, feel my pain, and have some desire to help me relieve it. Given a choice, why would I?
Right. Amen to that.
Self-inflicted damage, bad partners, or bad friends, or bad colleagues, or whatever it is. That stuff is toxic. It will kill you.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. And I always believe that it causes holding in feelings and emotions of any kind causes disease, not just of your mind and your heart, but of physically manifests into disease.
It's not a matter of belief. It's absolutely positively true. When you are in great pain, in the absence of compassion, your immune system is decreased, your will to live is decreased, your ability to respond to drugs is decreased, your need for painkillers is dramatically increased, your chances of addiction are increased. So all of that is a function of unresolved pain. And is it a coincidence then when I went into my exam with my ENT for the golf tournament, I was the most burned out. You take any, in the dictionary, there's a picture of me under the term burnout. I was every category. I don't need to go into why, but I was burned out trying to save my life, my career, my studio, my everything else. And I was as burned out, and then I got cancer. You think that's a coincidence?
No.
Scientifically? No. No. It doesn't cause cancer, but it lowers your body's ability to deal with the cancer cells we all have, that when we're healthy, we can fight off. And when we're weak, that we can't.
Yes.
So keeping that pain inside does no good whatsoever. You've got to deal with it.
That's why it's so important to find your people, those people who are going to support you. And
find your tribe.
Yep. I love that. I say that all of the time. I have a business that I own and operate during the day. It's called Vibes, and we call ourselves the Vibes Tribe because we're there to help other people in their journey of healing and becoming better versions of themselves. And
me too.
It's just it's so purposeful, and you're doing the work. I'm doing the work. Our listeners are doing the work, and it's just it's pure magic is what it is. It's so good. Lee, I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to grab your book. How can they do that?
Well, it's very simple. There's two ways. One is you can go to Amazon.com and look for Compassion Heals from Self-Care to Healthcare, and you can pay for it. Or, I'm going to bribe you, you can go to my website, leetomlinson.com, take the Compassion Heals Challenge, one kind act a day for 7 days, and you'll get a free digital version of the book. So you can buy it, which I would like, but I'd be minded to give you a copy of it, knowing that you earned it by being your true, kind, caring, and compassionate self, and did 7 days of kind acts. And I'm going to make it even easier. If you're in a bad place and you just don't feel up to being able to be kind to other people, you're in that much pain, then give yourself 7 kind, loving acts to help yourself. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. And any reason you think you don't, go to my website and tell me about it. I'm happy to talk to you about it. But
Lee, that is so wonderful.
Or to others.
That is so generous.
That's how they can get my book for free, or they can pay for it.
I was going to say, why don't you just head over there and do the Compassion Hills Movement 7-day challenge and buy the book and pay it forward. Give it to a friend. Spread the message. Spread the message that compassion heals. Let's get more people out in the world sharing a smile or a hand or a hug or whatever that looks like.
Yes. Or a glance or a look or an open door or a help with a package. Anything. As long as you think, boy, I could be kind if I would just do X.
Yes. Lee, it has been so wonderful to have you here spreading this great inspiration and positivity with all of us. Your message is just beautiful and so needed, especially right now more than ever. So to all of you listening, don't let this just stop here. Take these words of experience and advice and spread them around like wildfire. And Lee, I can't wait to see what you come up with in the future with this movement and all that you're sharing. Thank you so much again for being here. What a blessing.
My pleasure. And if anybody get a book, go get a book. If anybody needs a speaker, go to my website. And if anybody knows anybody who wants to make a movie about compassion, be in touch. Go to my website and let's talk about it.
Wonderful. So good. Yes, connections are great. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us tonight. Our Wanderers, you guys are the greatest and the best support. And Bill, he's so exhausted. He's been working so hard, and he still showed up to put me on air. So thank you. And we'll see you all next week with a new show. Good night.